Hey everyone, hope you're having a blessed day. So after almost exploding myself into an early grave in my last video, I decided it was time to bring back the professionals, aka Sean Paul and his team. This video now marks the beginning of the end of this renovation, as we're now into the final stage of this project, which will include transforming the hallway, the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom. That's certainly my hope anyway. I've counted up the beans, and whilst the bathroom is looking a little bit unlikely, I'm going to take an optimistic stance and say I'll be able to afford it when the time comes. So to start the final phase, the first job, which you can see being done here, which actually involved building something new rather than just tearing down old walls and learning about electricity, was building the new walls up and insulating them. If you missed the previous videos where I tore the walls down, this part of the building was insulated with sheets of polystyrene, which really can't be considered insulation. This time round, Sean Paul, his apprentice Kian, and his other joiner Damien, who you'll see a little bit later, would be fitting 70mm sheets of insulation, which will just make a huge difference in here. I've said from the start, one of the big goals with this place was to just make it more energy efficient and future proof, which adding good insulation will certainly help with. Before adding the insulation though, Sean Paul and Kian had to build the new stud walls, which is what you can see them doing here. I'd mentioned in some of my recent videos that the pre-existing timber frame was okay in terms of the health of the wood, but it was just very squint, and having gone to all of the effort and expense I have with the rest of the building, it didn't make sense to start cutting corners at this stage, and therefore we decided to go with new stud walls. To build the stud walls, Sean Paul and Kian would fit the top and bottom pieces of wood, which after some googling I now know are called the top plates and the bottom plates, and then they'd add these vertical pieces of wood, which are the studs, before adding the horizontal pieces of wood, which in Scotland are called dwangs, but in other places are called nogging or blocking, and these horizontal pieces provide extra rigidity to the frame. If any of what I said is wrong, please complain to Wikipedia. I have no idea what I'm talking about and just copied all of that from the wiki page for stud walls. Now I should mention, whilst they're framing out the little alcove and the old fireplace which we discovered hidden behind the plasterboard, I'm not going to be keeping or using the fireplaces in this house at the moment anyway. Instead, it's going to be turned into built-in storage, and I'll explain why in a minute after Sean Paul admires a little bit of my work.
On Friday, and then make it
3.
Here's what you need to do.
Who done that?
Answer the phone. So you've answered within 5 rings, and you don't have to.
Okay, so the fireplace explanation. A couple of videos ago I showed you all that I'd found a fireplace in the bigger room, which will be the office, and another fireplace in the smaller room, which will be my bedroom. Starting with the reason I don't want a fireplace in the bedroom, the only time I'll really be spending time in the bedroom is when I'm sleeping. I absolutely hate trying to sleep in a hot room, so it was a pretty easy choice to not go to the expense and trouble of putting in a new wood burning stove there, because I just wouldn't use it. In the room which will be the office, the chimney above this fireplace has actually been bricked up. Not in that way. I mean, it's been covered up with bricks, which means that if I did want to add a functional fireplace in here, I'd not only have to go through more delays and the expense of adding the stove and a new chimney, but I'd also need to go through planning permission again to get all of that approved. For all I know, that could take another 6 months, and to be honest, I just do not want to do that for something which I don't think I'll use that much. If it was a fireplace in the living room, I'd be much more likely to do that, because having a fireplace in a living room is actually really lovely. But having a working fireplace in the office just isn't something that I really feel I need.
Fuck you, dude. My hearing fucking goes out fucking wreck and roll.
Unfortunately, I worked on some really tough issues in some really tough places, getting difficult things done. I know how to make change happen, and that's what I want to do for people looking for 26 years for the UK government.
The back house is standing for the SNP.
You're changing activists for over 30 years.
Just to finish up the fireplace discussion, I'm not completely shutting down the idea of having a fireplace in the office. With that area opened up for the built-in storage, that does always leave the opportunity for me to reconsider this decision. Who knows, maybe I'll be editing my videos in this room 6 months from now and think, actually, I'm fucking freezing, let's get a couple of logs burning in here. But for right now, the pros of not using the fireplace are more bountiful than the pros of putting one in. If this sounds like an apology, it sort of is. I'm kind of worried about people calling me a building character destroyer. In terms of what's next for the renovation, I'm hoping my upcoming videos will show quite big and or interesting changes in here. I've mentioned in the past that this is actually an upstairs flat with just one neighbour down below. I probably need to draw up some kind of diagram to explain that one at some point, because I know it is strange that I have the upstairs flat but also have a garden which is level with my house. An upstairs garden is just a bit of a peculiar notion if you don't have a diagram to reference. The entire building did used to be just one single house, but over the years it's been extended, converted, chopped and changed in numerous ways. But unfortunately, as part of that chopping and changing process, nothing much was done to make the divide between the upstairs and downstairs more soundproofed, which means I can hear my neighbour and they can hear me. So that's one of the things that I'll be getting sorted next, which I'm quite excited for, because I think that will make the place just feel very different and much better. I hate the feeling that I'm being loud just walking around the house, so I obviously want to remedy that. Beyond the soundproofing, the next parts will just make these rooms feel more like a home. Things like getting the plasterboard up, painting throughout, getting the carpets and more wood flooring down, and beginning to crack on with the bathroom, hopefully, which will be an entire process contained in just one video. It's just quite exciting having this project get to the part where an end is in sight. I can almost move in and start decorating it. So that's what's been happening recently. I hope you all enjoyed another little update. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate you leaving a like and subscribing for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.